The council chamber was massive, stretching further than the eye could see. Daniel Harper stood alone on a platform in the center. He wore his best uniform, though it felt heavy after 6 long hours of waiting. Around him, aliens from hundreds of worlds watched in silence. Some looked like crystals. Others floated like clouds. Many had shapes he could barely understand. The leader of the council spoke. It called itself the High Arbiter and looked like living glass that changed colors. Its voice came through a device in Daniel's ear, translating words into English. Humanity of Earth, we have made our decision. Your species has shown too much aggression. You expand too fast. You build too many weapons. You refuse to follow our rules. Daniel kept his face calm, but his hands tightened into fists. Behind him stood Katie Morris, his assistant. She was young and nervous, but she stood straight and quiet. The Arbiter continued speaking. In 70 years since we met you, humans have taken 42 star systems. You did this without asking permission. You armed your ships beyond what we allow. You will not accept our culture and our ways. Another alien spoke up. This one looked like floating tentacles covered in glowing spots. Humans are dangerous. They bring chaos everywhere they go. They cannot be trusted. Daniel finally spoke, his voice loud and clear. We brought medicine when the Kelvar people were dying from plague. We protected the Surian colonies from pirates when your peacekeepers were too slow. We shared our farming knowledge for free. That does not matter, the Arbiter said coldly. You did these things without permission. You acted alone. This council exists to keep order, and humanity cannot follow order. A beam of light struck a platform, making a sound like a judge's hammer. Humanity is banned from the Galactic Council. All trade stops now. All friendship ends today. You have 1 year to leave all systems except your first ones. Any human ship we find after that will be treated as an enemy. Katie gasped quietly. Daniel stood taller. What if we refuse? Then we will force you out. The Arbiter's light turned cold blue. We have spoken. The platform under Daniel's feet started to move down, taking him out of the chamber. As the faces of hundreds of aliens disappeared above him, he looked at Katie. Send a message to Earth, he said quietly. Tell them to start Plan Omega. Katie nodded. She understood how important those words were. Yes, sir. Their small ship left the council station and jumped into faster-than-light travel. Daniel looked back at the huge station one last time.
He allowed himself a small smile.
They have no idea what they just did, he whispered. The message reached Earth in just a few hours. In the halls of government, emergency meetings started immediately. Military commanders opened secret files. Scientists activated projects that had been hidden for years. Admiral Greg Sullivan stood before the top military leaders in a bunker deep underground. Ladies and gentlemen, the Council has made their choice. Now we make ours. He pressed a button. The room filled with holographic blueprints showing ships and weapons. For 20 years, we have been preparing for this moment. They wanted us to be weak. They wanted us to obey without question. They wanted us to accept limits on what we could become. His eyes shone with determination. Instead, we are going to show them what happens when you corner the most dangerous species from Earth. We survived ice ages. We climbed to the top of our food chain. We went from caves to spaceships in 10,000 years, and now they think they can stop us? The others nodded. General Lisa Patterson spoke next. Operation Throne is approved. All secret projects are now active. Time to build our own empire. Across human space, things started to happen. Ships that had been sitting dark and cold suddenly powered up. Shipyards hidden inside asteroids began building at full speed. Soldiers who had been training in secret received their orders to deploy. In a lab on Europa, one of Jupiter's moons, scientists worked on new technologies that the Council had banned. Dr. Helen Price looked at her team with excitement. The Council said some research was too dangerous. They told us we could not study certain things. They wanted to keep us limited and weak. She smiled. But we kept working in secret, and now we are going to show them what human innovation really means. On Mars, factory workers started production lines that had been built but never used. Giant ships began to take shape, larger and more powerful than anything the Council had seen before. On Luna Base, the moon facility where Admiral Sullivan commanded, holographic displays showed the entire solar system. Markers appeared showing secret bases, hidden fleets, and weapon platforms that had been disguised as simple mining stations.
How long until we are ready?
Sullivan asked his staff. Military fleet can be fully deployed in 6 months, an officer replied. but we can start operations in 2 months if needed. And the diplomatic side? Katie Morris, now promoted to Diplomatic Corps, answered, "We have been in secret contact with 37 species. They are all unhappy with the Council. They are waiting to see what we do next." Sullivan nodded. "Then let's not keep them waiting. Katie, I want you to reach out to those species. Tell them humanity remembers who helped us. Tell them we remember who the Council ignored and abandoned. And tell them we are building something new, something better." In the Terminus Belt, a region of space far from Council control, Captain Ryan Mitchell prepared his ship for its first mission. The HNS Defiance looked like a normal transport vessel on sensors, but that was a lie. Hidden beneath false plating were weapons that could destroy ships 3 times its size. "Sir, are you sure about this?" his second officer asked. "If we start fighting, there is no going back." Ryan looked at the stars ahead. The Council already made that choice for us. They banned us. They cast us out. They thought that would make us weak and afraid. He smiled. They forgot that humans do not surrender. We adapt, we overcome, we win. On Earth, in the capital city, the president addressed the world. "My fellow humans, today we face a choice. We can accept the Council's judgment and retreat. We can make ourselves small and hope they forgive us someday. Or we can stand up and show the galaxy what humanity is truly capable of." The crowd roared its approval. The Council thought they were punishing us. Instead, they freed us. They freed us from their rules. They freed us from their limits. They freed us from their corruption and their politics. The president's voice grew stronger, and now we are going to build something they never could. An alliance based on respect, not fear. A government based on freedom, not control. A future based on what we can become, not what others say we should be. Across Earth and all human colonies, people cheered. The age of submission was over. The age of humanity's rise had begun. The Galactic Council had made the biggest mistake in its 10,000-year history. They had banned humanity from their table. So humanity would build its own table, and they would make it so attractive, so fair, so powerful, that others would leave the Council to join them. The throne was being built, and the galaxy would never be the same. 6 months had passed since the Council banned humanity. Now the galaxy was starting to see what that decision really meant. Captain Ryan Mitchell sat in the command chair of the HNS Defiance. His ship looked small and harmless on any sensor scan. That was exactly what he wanted. Hidden beneath the outer hull were weapons that the Council had never imagined. The ship could move faster than Council regulations allowed. It could hit harder than ships twice its size. "Captain, we are approaching the Terminus Belt," said Jake Foster, his navigator. "We are detecting the pirates in Sector 7, just like our intelligence predicted." Ryan studied the display in front of him. The Terminus Belt was supposed to be Council space, but in reality, nobody controlled it. Pirates operated freely here. That made it perfect for what came next. All crew to battle stations. Weapons ready. Wait for my command. He leaned forward. Time to show the galaxy that humanity is back in business. The pirates had 12 ships surrounding a group of civilian transport vessels. The civilians were Mexarian traders, a peaceful species that the Council was supposed to protect. But as usual, Council peacekeepers were nowhere to be found. "Unknown ships, stay away," the pirate leader transmitted. "This is our business. Do not interfere," Ryan smiled. "Negative. This is human space now. Surrender, or we will destroy you." Laughter came through the communication system. "Humans, you were kicked out of the Council. You have no authority here. You have no power." "Wrong." Ryan made a hand signal. The Defiance dropped its disguise. Suddenly, its full weapons array became visible. Missile tubes opened. Energy weapons powered up. The ship's true size expanded as armor plates shifted. "We have the only authority that matters, power." The battle lasted only 4 minutes. The pirates had standard Council-approved weapons. They had never seen anything like what humanity brought to the fight. Railguns fired solid projectiles at incredible speeds, punching through shields like paper. Missiles that could think for themselves chased down fleeing ships. Energy weapons cut through armor using technology the Council had banned decades ago. When it was over, only one pirate ship remained. It was damaged and limping away as fast as it could. The Mexarian convoy captain sent a message. "Thank you, human vessel. We thought we were going to die today." "Tell everyone what you saw here," Ryan replied. "Tell them that humanity does not need the Council's permission to do what is right. Tell them that if they need protection, they can find it under Earth's flag. Similar fights were happening across the frontier. Human ships appeared in troubled areas, offering help and protection. But they did not stop with just military action. On the colony world of Nova Terra, Governor Paul Henderson stood before a crowd of 50,000 human settlers. The council abandoned us when they banned our people. They expected us to run home to Earth with our heads down. Instead, we are going to thrive. He pointed to the skyline where construction machines worked day and night. We are building the first free trade port in this entire sector. Any species, any cargo, no council paperwork. No bribes to corrupt officials. No waiting 6 months for permits. Just honest business, the crowd cheered loudly. Word spread quickly through unofficial channels. Within weeks, alien merchants started arriving. They were drawn by the promise of fair trade and human protection from pirates. Meanwhile, in the laboratories on Europa Station, Dr. Helen Price made a discovery that would change everything. Director, you need to see this right now. Director Alan Cross rushed to her workstation. Holographic models of molecules rotated in the air. What am I looking at? A completely new power source. I call it a quantum cascade reactor. It produces 500 times more power than anything the council uses. She showed him efficiency charts. With this, we can power entire cities with a device the size of a car. Our ships can travel twice as far without refueling. Our weapons can fire continuously without stopping. Alan understood immediately what this meant. How fast can we build them? Give me 6 months and unlimited resources. I can have 1,000 units ready. You have both. This is the key, Helen. This is what makes us truly independent. The Galactic Council started receiving reports about human activity. They called emergency meetings. The Arbiter reviewed intelligence reports with growing disbelief. They are ignoring our decree, the floating tentacle alien said angrily. They are expanding even faster than before the ban. It is worse than that, a Kelvar representative said. Her first stood up with worry. They are offering protection to species we have neglected. They are building trade networks outside our control. They are recruiting allies. The Arbiter's crystalline form changed color thoughtfully. How many species have accepted human alliance? Our report suggests 37 minor species, 12 independent colonies, and at least 5 species that were council members. Silence filled the council chamber. Finally, the Arbiter spoke. We may have made a mistake. Send a diplomatic representative. Perhaps we can negotiate their return with better terms. But the tentacle alien pulsed with disagreement. That shows weakness. We made our decision. We should send our fleet to enforce it. Then prepare the fleet, the Arbiter agreed, though it sounded reluctant. But send the diplomat first. Give them one chance to submit peacefully. The order went out across council space. What they did not know was that human intelligence networks had already intercepted and decoded the message. In the command center on Luna Base, Admiral Sullivan received the information and smiled coldly. They are sending both a diplomat and a fleet. Perfect. He turned to his staff. Speed up Phase 2. Let's show them exactly what they are dealing with. The Council's plan was simple. Send a diplomat to Nova Terra with an escort of 20 warships. The message was clear. Talk peace, but be ready for war. But humanity had its own plans. Governor Henderson prepared Nova Terra for visitors. The space station they built was designed to impress. It showed that humans could create beautiful things while also being practical. Captain Mitchell positioned his small fleet nearby. On sensors, it looked like 30 human ships. That was another lie. Through cloaking technology, there were actually 300 ships hiding in the system. Defense platforms had been built inside asteroids. Weapon satellites floated disguised as space debris. They are going to be surprised, Mitchell said to his crew. When they arrive, they will see what they expect to see. But when we show them the truth, everything changes. In deep space, the council diplomat named Vex traveled toward Nova Terra. He felt confident. Behind him came 20 powerful warships. Ahead of him was a colony of humans who had been banned and isolated. They will negotiate, Vex told himself. They have no choice. We are the council. We have power. We have numbers. We have everything. He had no idea how wrong he was. On Earth, the president met with the top leaders. The council is making its move. They think they can intimidate us with a show of force. They think we are still the same humans they banned 6 months ago. Are we ready? Asked a general. We are more than ready, Admiral Sullivan said through a video link. We have been ready for years. We just waited for them to give us a reason. Across human space, ships moved into position. Crews prepared for combat. Diplomats prepared their arguments. Scientists made final checks on new weapons. The Council was coming to Nova Terra expecting to find a weak, isolated colony. Instead, they were about to walk into a demonstration of human power that would shock the entire galaxy. The message was simple. Humanity had been banned from the Council's table. So humanity built its own table, and it was bigger, stronger, and better than anything the Council had created in 10,000 years. The first real test was about to begin. The Council diplomat arrived at Nova Terra with his escort of 20 warships. Councillor Vex stepped off his shuttle feeling confident. He represented the most powerful alliance in known space. These humans should be grateful he came at all. Governor Paul Henderson met him in the new assembly hall. The building was designed to accommodate many species, with different atmospheres and gravity zones. It was impressive, but Vex tried not to show it. Councillor Vex, Henderson greeted him professionally. Welcome to Nova Terra, though I notice your military escort is quite large for a peace mission. Vex's reptilian features formed something like a smile. Just a precaution, Governor. We have heard disturbing reports about human military activities in these regions. Military activities? Henderson gestured to a holographic display. We have been protecting trade convoys from pirates. We have been building free markets. We have been offering alliance to species your council has ignored for centuries. If that is military aggression, then the word has lost all meaning. You are operating in council space without authorization. No. Henderson's voice became firm. We are operating in unclaimed space that your council could not bother to govern properly. According to your own charter, neglected regions become free after 50 cycles without active administration. We did our research, Counselor. Vex's confidence faltered slightly. Legal details aside, the council demands you stop your activities and return to your assigned systems. Or what? Henderson leaned forward. You will ban us again? Already done. You will use force? Look around you, Counselor. The display changed, showing real-time images from across the region. Human vessels patrolled everywhere. Space stations bustled with activity from dozens of species. Allied ships worked alongside human crews. We built something in 6 months that your council failed to build in centuries. We created order without oppression. We provided security without bureaucracy. We brought prosperity without corruption. Henderson stood up. We are not returning to our cage, Counselor. Instead, we are offering you a choice. You dare give ultimatums to the Galactic Council? No, I am offering partnership between equals. Your council can adapt to the new reality, or it can become irrelevant. Those are the only options. Before Vex could respond, alarms sounded across the station. Katie Morris rushed in. Governor, we have a situation. Council fleet elements are surrounding Nova Terra. They are powering up weapons. Henderson and Vex locked eyes. Is this your idea of diplomacy, Counselor? Vex looked genuinely surprised and angry. This was not authorized. Someone on the council has acted without permission. Then I suggest you call them off. Quickly. In orbit around Nova Terra, the council warships had formed a blockade. The fleet commander was a militant alien named Admiral Kresh. He transmitted on all frequencies. Human vessels, stand down immediately. Prepare to be boarded. Your operations violate council decrees. Captain Ryan Mitchell, commanding a small group of human ships, responded calmly. Admiral Kresh, you are violating diplomatic protocols. There is an active negotiation happening on Nova Terra right now. The time for talking is over. Surrender or be destroyed. Wrong answer, Mitchell gave the signal. All ships execute protocol revelation. Across the Nova Terra system, space shimmered like a mirage. Suddenly, what had appeared to be 30 human vessels became 300. Cloaked ships dropped their stealth fields. Hidden defense platforms activated with weapons pointing at the Council fleet. The asteroid field lit up with defense systems that had been concealed perfectly. Admiral Kresh stared at his tactical display in complete shock. His 20 warships were now outnumbered 15-1. This is impossible, he whispered. Our intelligence reported minimal human presence. Mitchell's voice came through again, now with an edge of steel. Your intelligence was fooled. This is humanity's new way of doing things, Admiral. We do not advertise our strength. We let others underestimate us. Then we demonstrate exactly why that was a mistake. We still have larger ships. Our vessels are more powerful, are they? Another shimmer occurred in space. a massive structure uncloaked behind the human fleet. It was 3 times larger than the biggest Council dreadnought. Weapons covered its surface. Hundreds of small fighter craft launched from its hangars. "Meet the UHNS Olympus," Mitchell announced, the first of humanity's mobile command platforms. She carries 15,000 crew members. She has 300 fighter craft. She has enough firepower to destroy a planet. And before you ask, yes, we have more of these. It was partially a bluff. The Olympus was humanity's only mobile station so far. It had cost enormous resources to build. But Admiral Kresh had no way to know this. The deception worked perfectly. "This is a declaration of war," Kresh transmitted. His voice shook with both rage and fear. "No, Admiral. This is a declaration of independence. You can leave peacefully, or we can test our weapons on your ships. Choose now." For a long moment, nobody moved. Then Counselor Vex's voice cut through from the planet's surface. "Admiral Kresh, stand down immediately. This is a direct order from the Diplomatic Corps. Counselor, we have them surrounded." "No, Admiral. They have us surrounded. We just did not see it until now. Stand down and withdraw." "That is an order." Reluctantly, Admiral Kresh gave the command. The Council fleet powered down weapons and began pulling back. As they left the system, Mitchell allowed himself a moment of satisfaction. "Send a message to Admiral Sullivan. Tell him Phase 3 is approved for launch." On Luna Base, Admiral Sullivan received the report with grim satisfaction. He gathered his commanders around a galactic map. Hundreds of markers appeared across space that had been neutral territory. "Ladies and gentlemen, the Council has now seen our defensive capabilities. Now we show them our reach." He pointed to the markers. "These are locations for humanity's new network. We are building shipyards, trade stations, research facilities, and military outposts. We are not just creating a fleet. We are building an empire." General Lisa Patterson studied the map carefully. "Some of these locations are deep inside what the Council considers their territory." "They considered it their territory," Sullivan corrected. "But they cannot defend it all. We can move faster than their bureaucracy can respond. By the time they authorize military action, we will be established. By the time they actually deploy forces, we will have recruited enough of their own members to make attacking us politically impossible." Dr. Helen Price entered the command center. Her face glowed with excitement. "Admiral, the quantum cascade reactors are performing beyond all projections. We can begin full deployment ahead of schedule." "Excellent. Prioritize military vessels and frontier stations. I want our key installations running on quantum power within 3 months." Back on the Council homeworld, emergency sessions continued without stop. The Arbiter looked somehow older now. Its crystalline structure seemed dimmed by stress. "How many species have withdrawn from the Council?" it asked. The tentacle alien pulsed dark colors. 19 species have formally left. Another 32 have suspended their participation pending reforms. The humans have offered alliance to all of them. And our military strength? Admiral Kresh, still angry from his humiliation, projected tactical displays. "We have assembled a fleet of 250 capital ships. It is our largest mobilization in 5 centuries, but intelligence suggests the humans can field at least 400 vessels of equal or superior capability. That does not include their allied forces. How is this possible?" A dragon-like representative slammed its claw on the table. 6 months ago, they were restricted to their home systems. The answer lay in human efficiency and innovation. While the Council had spent centuries perfecting bureaucracy, humanity had spent decades perfecting war. While the Council banned dangerous research, humanity had pursued it in secret. While the Council grew comfortable with power, humanity had grown hungry for it. On Europa Station, Dr. Price explained it to a group of allied scientists from 5 different species. "The secret is that we optimize for results, not compatibility. Council technology is standardized to work across all species. That makes it average at everything. Human technology is optimized to be excellent at specific things." She demonstrated with side-by-side comparisons. A Council reactor produces a certain amount of power. Our quantum cascade reactor produces 20 times more power using half the fuel. That efficiency advantage multiplies across every system. Faster ships, stronger weapons, longer operational time. A Kelvar scientist studied the designs with amazement. "But this should be impossible under standard physics." "Standard physics as defined by the Council," Helen corrected with a smile. "They banned whole fields of research. They called them too dangerous or unnecessary. We ignored those bans. Turns out danger and necessity depend on your perspective. The galaxy was changing rapidly. Every day brought news of another species leaving the Council. Every week brought reports of new human installations. Every month brought technological advances that shocked the old establishment. The Council had banned humanity hoping to maintain control. Instead, they had unleashed a force that would reshape the entire galaxy. Humanity was not building an empire through conquest. They were building it through example, through innovation, through offering something better than what the Council. 3 months after the standoff at Nova Terra, the cracks in the Galactic Council became impossible to ignore. Daniel Harper, now serving as Secretary of External Affairs for Humanity, stood in a neutral space station called Terminus Junction. Before him sat representatives from 11 Council species. They had come in secret, risking punishment from their own governments. "Thank you for coming," Daniel began respectfully. "I know this meeting puts all of you in danger." The Kelvar representative, a female named Counselor Mira, spoke first. "Secretary Harper, we are here because what we saw at Nova Terra both frightened us and gave us hope." "Hope?" Daniel was curious. A Saurian delegate whose body looked like living crystal spoke next. "The Council has become corrupt. Those of us from smaller civilizations have no real voice. We pay tribute. We follow rules. But we receive little protection. When the Kelvar plague struck our worlds, the Council debated for 6 months before sending help. Your people arrived in 6 days. We have noticed the pattern," Mira continued. "The Council only acts quickly when it benefits the senior members. The rest of us exist to provide resources and votes. Nothing more." Daniel leaned forward, seeing an opportunity. What if there was an alternative? An alliance based on mutual benefit, not hierarchy, where every species has equal voice regardless of their size or age. The Human Alliance? The Saurian sounded doubtful. "Why would you offer equal status when you clearly have superior military power?" "Because we learned something important from Earth's history," Daniel replied. "Empires built on force always collapse eventually, but partnerships built on respect can last forever. We do not want subjects to control. We want true allies to stand with." He activated a display. "Here is what we offer. Full access to our trade networks with no taxes or restrictions. Protection from pirates and hostile forces. Access to human technology, including medical advances and farming methods. Most importantly, genuine representation in decision-making." "What do you want in return?" Mira asked carefully. "Your independence from the Council. Your resources committed to mutual defense. Your participation in governance. Your trust." Daniel looked each delegate in the eyes. "We are not asking you to serve humanity. We are asking you to stand beside humanity as equals." The delegates communicated with each other in their various ways. Finally, the Saurian spoke. "We must discuss this with our governments. But speaking personally, this is the most reasonable offer I have heard in 3 centuries of service." "Take the time you need," Daniel assured them. "But know that we are moving forward regardless. The only question is whether you will help shape what comes next." As the meeting ended, Katie Morris approached Daniel. "Sir, reports are coming in. 7 Council species have announced their withdrawal. They are all citing the same reasons: neglect and unequal treatment." Daniel nodded seriously. "The Council held together through fear and habit. We have broken both. Now things will accelerate rapidly." He was correct. Within 2 weeks, the Council faced its greatest crisis in 10,000 years. Emergency sessions ran constantly on the Council homeworld. The Arbiter looked tired and old. Its crystalline structure seemed duller than before. "Report, how many have left?" The tentacle alien pulsed very dark colors. 19 species have formally withdrawn. Another 32 have suspended participation pending reforms. The humans have offered alliance to every single one. What about military options? Admiral Kresh, still bitter from his defeat, showed tactical displays. "We have assembled 250 capital ships. It is our largest fleet in 5 centuries. But intelligence suggests humans can field at least 400 vessels of equal or better capability. That does not count their allies. How is this possible?" A dragon-like alien slammed the table. 6 months ago, they were confined to their original systems. The truth was simple but hard to accept. Humanity had prepared for this moment for 20 years. They had built in secret. They had researched banned technologies. They had planned for every possibility. And now all that preparation was paying off. On Nova Terra, Governor Henderson spoke to a crowd that now included representatives from 30 allied species. The old council ruled through bureaucracy and fear. Our alliance leads through example and partnership. We will not repeat their mistakes. But not everyone was ready to give up the old ways. Admiral Kresh convinced several hardline council members to authorize a military strike. Without full approval from the Arbiter, he assembled 50 warships and set course for a human outpost in the Deneb sector. "This is where we teach them a lesson," Kresh told his fleet. "This is where we show them that the Council still has power." He jumped his fleet into the Deneb system expecting to find a small, poorly defended outpost. Instead, he jumped into a carefully prepared trap. Captain Ryan Mitchell had positioned his fleet in the outer system, hidden behind a planet's strong magnetic field. As Kresh's ships moved toward the outpost, Ryan gave his order. "All ships execute flanking maneuver. Target their command vessels first." The human fleet erupted from concealment like wolves attacking prey. Kresh suddenly found himself caught between the outpost defenses and Ryan's attack force. His ships were in the worst possible tactical position. The battle was intense but short. Human weapons were simply better. Faster missiles, stronger energy beams, better targeting systems, ships that could take damage and keep fighting. "Admiral Kresh," Ryan transmitted as the Council flagship's shields collapsed. "You are outmaneuvered and outgunned. Surrender now. Your crews will be treated with honor." Kresh's reply was full of hate. "Never. The Council does not surrender to primitive species like yours. Then you will die for their arrogance." Ryan gave the order with regret. "Fire!" The Council flagship exploded in a bright flash. The remaining ships, their commander dead and their formation broken, surrendered quickly. News of the battle reached the Council chamber within hours. The Arbiter listened to the report in stunned silence. When the report finished, it spoke quietly. Admiral Kresh acted without full authorization. His attack was illegal under our own laws. The humans were defending legitimate territory. So what do? The tentacle alien's colors showed confusion and fear. "We adapt," the Arbiter said slowly. "Or we die. Those appear to be our only choices." In human space, the victory was celebrated, but leaders remained cautious. Daniel Harper addressed the growing human alliance from Nova Terra's assembly hall. "Today we defended ourselves against illegal aggression. Tomorrow we continue building something better." The old council ruled through fear and paperwork. "Our alliance will lead through example and true partnership. We will not make their mistakes." Representatives from 30 species applauded. More species were preparing to join. The momentum was unstoppable now. On Luna Base, Admiral Sullivan reviewed strategic projections. "The Council is fracturing. Some want to negotiate. Others want total war. But all of them are afraid. Good. Fear keeps people honest." General Patterson looked concerned. "What if they unite for one massive attack? They still have resources." "They won't," Sullivan said confidently. "Their bureaucracy cannot move that fast. And every day they delay, we get stronger and they get weaker. Time is on our side." Dr. Helen Price entered with more good news. "Admiral, we have made another breakthrough. Our new shield technology can absorb and redirect energy weapons. We are essentially immune to their most common attack method." Sullivan smiled. "How long until deployment?" "Immediate. We can start installing on all military vessels right away." Across the frontier, humanity continued its rapid expansion. Every new station attracted more species. Every successful defense mission brought more allies. Every technological advance increased the gap between human capability and Council capability. The Galactic Council had created this situation through arrogance and neglect. They had assumed their age and size made them invincible. They had assumed humanity would submit or suffer. They had assumed wrong on every count. Now they faced a choice that was really no choice at all. They could accept the new reality and negotiate as equals, or they could fight and lose everything. The throne humanity was building stood on foundations of innovation, partnership, and strength. It rose higher every day, and there was nothing the old order could do to stop it. The galaxy was changing. The age of the Council was ending. The age of the Alliance was beginning, and humanity stood at the center of it all, not as conquerors but as builders of something better. 6 months after the battle at Deneb, the galaxy looked completely different. The old Galactic Council still existed, but it was a shadow of what it once was. From 247 member species, it had shrunk to only 85. It controlled perhaps 1/3 of its previous territory. The rest had either joined the Human Alliance or declared complete independence. Secretary Daniel Harper stood in the Grand Assembly Hall of Olympus Station, now the capital of the Alliance. Representatives from 63 species filled the circular chamber. Unlike the Council's imposing hierarchy, this room was designed as a circle with everyone on equal footing. Colleagues, Daniel began, translation systems carrying his words to every species present. 6 months ago, humanity stood alone and banned. Today we stand together as free peoples united not by force but by choice. This is the moment we formally establish our principles and structure. Councillor Mira of the Kelvar spoke next. The Alliance Charter has been reviewed by all member governments. It represents something that has never existed before, a true partnership among equals. Speaker Cyrus, the Saurian representative, added his support. We have all suffered under the old Council's bureaucracy. This charter ensures no single species can dominate others. All major decisions require consensus, not just majority votes. What about military structure? Asked a Draconid delegate, one of the species that had left the Council early. Admiral Greg Sullivan appeared on a holographic display. The Alliance Defense Force operates on a distributed system. Each species contributes forces but maintains command over their own units. In combat, we coordinate rather than control. Every species keeps sovereignty over their military. What about humanity's obvious technology advantage? The question came from a cautious Mexarian representative. How do we ensure that does not become a tool for domination? Dr. Helen Price stepped forward. The Alliance Science Council is already sharing human innovations with all members. Quantum cascade reactors, advanced medical technology, improved farming methods, everything is being distributed freely. We gain more from having strong allies than from keeping monopolies. Daniel returned to the center of the circle. The old council tried to freeze technology at a certain level to maintain control through limitation. We believe the opposite. Every species that grows stronger makes the alliance stronger. We rise together, or we do not truly rise at all. The vote was called. 63 species voted unanimously to approve the alliance charter. As results were announced, the chamber erupted in celebration. Each species expressed joy in their own unique way, but not everyone was celebrating. On the council homeworld, the Arbiter watched the transmission with the remaining council members. The mood was dark and heavy. It is finished, the tentacle alien pulsed quietly. They have built what we only claim to be. A real alliance. We could still fight, a hardliner suggested. Our military is still formidable even if reduced. To what purpose? The Arbiter's crystalline form seemed to have cracks now. We have lost moral authority. We have lost military advantage. We have lost economic power. Fighting would only achieve mutual destruction. The chamber fell silent. Finally, a Kelvar representative who had stayed with the council spoke carefully. Then perhaps it is time we considered something unthinkable, which is, the Arbiter already knew the answer. Joining them. The debate that followed was fierce and emotional. Pride fought against pragmatism. Tradition fought against survival. But in the end, reality won. The old council was dying. Clinging to past glory would only lead to complete collapse. 3 weeks later, a diplomatic shuttle arrived at Olympus Station. It carried the most unexpected passenger, the Arbiter itself. Daniel Harper met the Arbiter in a private chamber. Katie Morris stood beside him. The two beings who had stood on opposite sides of history now faced each other without the trappings of power. Secretary Harper, the Arbiter began, its voice carrying none of its former authority. I come not as a council leader, but as someone asking for consideration. I am listening, Daniel replied neutrally. The council made mistakes. We became what we were created to prevent, tyrants who ruled the old over the new. We stopped innovation to maintain control. We ignored the needs of smaller species to serve powerful ones. We failed completely. The Arbiter's light dimmed. The question is whether there is a place for us in what you have built. Daniel considered carefully. What do you offer? Experience accumulated over 10,000 years. Infrastructure that still functions. Knowledge of past mistakes and successes. And perhaps most valuable, a warning example. The Arbiter flickered. You are building something better than we created. But you are young. You will face challenges we have encountered. Our failures could teach you to avoid the same paths. And what do you want? Membership in the alliance. Not as leaders but as partners. We would accept the same terms as every other species. Equal voice. Equal responsibility. Equal status. Daniel looked at Katie, who nodded slightly. He turned back to the Arbiter. This decision is not mine alone. It requires a vote of all Alliance members. Some of them carry deep grievances against the Council. I understand. I am prepared to face those grievances and accept whatever judgment the Alliance makes. The vote took place 1 week later. The debate was passionate and sometimes angry. Several species initially opposed the Council's admission. Councillor Mira argued strongly. They abandoned us when plague killed millions of our people. Why should we welcome them now that they need us? But Speaker Cyrus offered a different view. Because we are supposed to be better than they were. Punishing them serves no purpose except revenge. They offer knowledge that could benefit everyone, and accepting them proves we mean what we say about equality. In the end, the vote passed, though not unanimously. The old council would be dissolved. Its member species would be welcomed into the alliance individually, equal to all others. The Arbiter would no longer arbitrate, but would serve as one voice among many. As the decision was announced, Daniel found himself standing beside the former Arbiter on an observation deck. They watched ships from dozens of species moving around the station in organized patterns. Do you think it will last? The Arbiter asked quietly. This alliance you have built? I honestly do not know, Daniel admitted. We are attempting something that has never been done. Equality among species with vastly different capabilities and needs. It could collapse in a dozen different ways. Then why try? Daniel smiled. Because every alternative is worse. The old council proved that hierarchy breeds resentment. Complete independence breeds conflict. This might fail, but at least we fail trying to do something right instead of something easy. The Arbiter's light pulsed with what might have been approval. Perhaps humanity was banned for a reason. Perhaps the galaxy needed you to build something new rather than reform something broken. Perhaps, Daniel agreed. Or perhaps we just got lucky and stubborn in the right combination. Below them, construction crews worked on expanding Olympus Station. Human workers collaborated with Kelvar engineers, Saurian technicians, and a dozen other species. Admiral Sullivan's fleets patrolled not to conquer but to protect. Dr. Price's laboratories pursued advancement for everyone's benefit. The alliance was far from perfect. It was filled with compromises and challenges. Different species had different needs. Old rivalries still simmered under the surface. Technical problems arose constantly, but it was also something precious. A genuine attempt to create order without oppression, security without subjugation, and progress without domination. Captain Ryan Mitchell, now promoted to Commodore and commanding an entire sector, expressed it well in a message to his crew. We were banned by those who feared what we might become, so we became something they never imagined. Not conquerors, not servants, but partners in building something better. That, more than any throne or empire, is worth protecting. The human alliance would face many difficulties in the years ahead. There would be conflicts with remnant council hardliners who refused to accept change. There would be internal disputes among member species. There would be the constant challenge of maintaining unity across such diversity. External threats would emerge. New crises would test their resolve, but they would face those challenges together as equals in a galaxy that was slowly learning an important lesson. Humanity's greatest strength was not its technology or military power. It was humanity's stubborn belief that a better way was possible, and its determination to build that better way piece by piece, alliance by alliance, partnership by partnership, until the old order had no choice but to adapt or fade into history. The throne humanity built was not one of domination. It was a round table where all voices mattered equally, and in the end, that proved more powerful and more lasting than any empire built on force. The Galactic Council had banned humanity, expecting them to become weak and irrelevant. Instead, humanity responded by building its own throne, but it was a throne anyone could sit at, a throne that welcomed rather than excluded, a throne that lifted up rather than pushed down. That was the true revolution, not replacing one empire with another, but replacing empire itself with something better. Genuine alliance, real partnership, and equality not just in words, but in action. The galaxy would never be the same.